Hey girl, hey.
Hi.
How are you?
What's up? Doing great. How about yourself? Happy
I'm
Monday.
doing I'm doing really good. Today's going okay so far. I had a late start to my morning too because I don't know. It was just sleep was calling my name today. So I was just like,
Yes,
okay. I'm gonna just sleep it out,
literally.
girl.
I can't even tell you the last time I slept like that. Honestly, I was up really late though, doing stuff on the back end. But
Yeah, I
literally, I
saw
woke up this morning like, oh, let me shower. Hurry up.
no same. But I'm happy to be here though. I'm super excited about our conversation today because I know it's gonna be fire. Like I know it.
Me too, girl. I'm totally excited to learn about all your expertise, about content marketing and just I love how you always present yourself on the online space. You just are so knowledgeable in your areas of expertise, especially when it comes to content
Mhm.
marketing. So I'm so excited to share this platform with you and like
Yeah.
help our supporters because I know they're going to leave with some gems today.
Yeah.
And
I'm
God
excited.
willing, there will be no technology issues.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope that that doesn't happen, girl. Let's hope.
So go
Here.
ahead and give us like a brief introduction about yourself and about your business and
Yeah.
just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay. So, hey everybody. Hey everybody. Elena's followers, my followers. Thank you guys for joining in on today's live. My name is Rose Loreston, business and marketing. Okay. It's just
Hey, I don't know
one of.
if it's hey Rose, your Wi-Fi. I don't your Wi-Fi is like super acting up.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, when you were just talking, it was like going in and out nonstop. I didn't even hear what you were
Oh,
saying.
I'm so sorry. You
All
know,
good, girl. Look,
why I be
I
tripping?
spoke it, I jinxed us. Internet.
Oh, my bad, y'all. Can you hear me clearly now? Am I still breaking up, or is it okay?
I can hear you way better now.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, and I
Okay,
see you
so
better too.
oh, awesome. Okay, y'all. So again, my name is Rose Loreston. I am an intuitive business and marketing strategist. Essentially, what I do is help women really operate their business from a place of intuitiveness, like what feels good to them, something that's intentional, something that's purposeful. Because, girl, I'm all about walking in your purpose because ultimately, when you do everything from a place of purpose, you leave an impact. And that's what I'm all about, making sure that we're impacting people. And so, one of my favorite things is content marketing because, for one, it's like such an easy way to really start marketing your business and marketing you as a brand. But also, it's pretty low cost. It's just easy to just get into, especially when you first start your business. So that's a little bit about me, girl.
I love that. And
Mhm.
all y'all already know, I'm Alaina, the owner of Elite VA Services, your favorite virtual assistant coach. I help aspiring VAs launch their own profitable VA business in just 12 weeks. And all the information that you need is linked in my bio. But today is all about content marketing. So I'm super excited to just go ahead and dive in. So, first, like, tell us what is content marketing in general. Like, a lot of people, they hear the term, they don't know what it is, they just automatically assume, oh, content creating content, but they don't know what
Yeah.
content marketing is. So tell us
Okay.
about what that is. What define that for us.
Okay, so essentially what content marketing is creating content, right? Creating content, but with a purpose, right? So there's a means behind that, right? The goal of content marketing is to essentially make sure that you are attracting your ideal audience, ultimately to be able to call in your ideal client, right? You're engaging with them effectively, making sure that you're creating content that's engaging, that actually nurtures them, that tells them a lot about who you are and what you do as the expert in your field, right? And then you're also content marketing is about retaining these people too, making sure that like you're kind of building a I don't want to say cult like, but almost like cult like following, you know what I'm saying? Like people who are like, oh yeah, I love Alaina. I love the way that she shows up in the online space. I am about to like follow her. I binge all of her content. Like I want to sign up for all of her services because you've just been able to create that through content marketing. So I would
Yeah.
say it does those three things essentially, and why that's probably why it's the most popular and effective marketing strategy today.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I was actually introduced to the content marketing world through my very first client who I talk about all the time because he's still my client today, but he is
Mm-hmm.
actually a marketing expert. So that's how I even got introduced to like obviously like you don't realize that content marketing is what we do every day. We're creating
Right.
all this content that's getting, transformed and put out to the
Hmm.
masses. And you don't even realize that, hey, I'm doing content marketing. But
Literally.
obviously, having that strategy is what's really going to attract those ideal clients, or your extreme supporters that will follow you through anything. So
Yeah.
I learned a lot about content marketing through him. So it was like, it's crazy how, just everything, the circle of life brings you right back
Hmm.
to this point to like talk about it with you today.
No, yeah,
So how
absolutely.
did you even get into kind of like that space? What made you decide that content marketing was what you wanted to help your community and supporters with?
So, okay, years ago, 5 years ago, I knew that God called me to specifically help women, right? And I
Yeah.
knew that social media would be a great vehicle in order for me to do that. I started off with like YouTube. Didn't really, you feel me? It didn't stick. Okay. Then I went into kind of like blogging, podcasting. I did a lot of different things, a lot of different avenues, and all of them kind of fell under the umbrella of content marketing, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, earlier this year, I felt again to really tap into this online space and maybe start a business, right? Because we got to get the bills paid somehow. So I
Yeah.
started a business. Started a business. Even I started as a virtual assistant, as a matter of fact. I knew I had a lot of admin tasks or admin expertise, right?
Skills. Yeah.
Exactly. I had a lot of admin skills. And I was pretty good at social media because, again, I've been around the block a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I've been
Yeah.
doing it, dabbling in it a lot. And I was pretty good at it. And so I'm like, okay, let me be a VA. Let me do these things for people. Wasn't really feeling it. So I switched over from being a VA to just social media management. And that's
Yeah.
when I really, really fell in love with it, especially the strategy aspect behind that. Right. And so when I took that kind of a step back and really looked at the entire structure of my business in and of itself, what I really noticed was that content was my jam. And so it was like, how can I take this passion of mine? How can I take it and be able to offer it to women in a more effective way, a more impactful way? And so content marketing became that for me. And so that's what I offer my clients now.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I can just tell how passionate, well, I already knew how passionate you are about it
Yeah.
because how you show up on social media and talk about content, and just like,
Mm-hmm.
from your social blueprint to now your square
Yes.
one offer, it's just like you can tell how
Mm-hmm.
you truly love content. You truly want to put women in a position to make sure that they're creating the right content strategy to
Yep.
attract their clients. So I love that. And I love how, like,
Thank
when you talk
you.
about it, your face just lights up, and your
Thank,
content inspires me all the time. Like, not
thank
only just
you.
obviously the messaging, but like the aesthetics. And I know that oftentimes aesthetics, they say that it doesn't matter, which when it comes down to it, it doesn't, but it does make it look
But
nice
it
when you're
does,
given that
girl, because
value.
if the aesthetic is there, you're going to attract the right type of person. You want to make sure that your aesthetic feels good to you, okay, and attracts the type of person that you actually want to work with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
it matters to an extent, you know?
I agree, but it's always more about like like, well, the educational
Yeah,
factor, the value that's in it.
absolutely.
But I agree
Mm-hmm.
with you on that. Like, I love to say that it's like not the top priority. The top
Yeah.
priority is what you're putting in that content to help
Mm-hmm.
change people's lives. But as you see, our pages
Yeah, I
go
already
with
know
the brand, go with the brand though. Love it,
no, for
seriously.
sure.
So what qualifies as content?
Okay, some of the things that I would say qualifies as content can be anything ranging from, like I said, I started a YouTube channel, so long form
Yeah.
video content, right? Blogging is content, right? Creating podcasts. Podcast is another form of content. Social
Yeah.
media posts, like what we post every single day to market our business, is all
Yeah.
forms of content, right? So
Yeah.
content is not limited to only what we post on social media. It can be a wide range, a whole variety of types of things. Because content is just simply putting value in a form, in a style, and just sharing it with people, distributing that to people.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And I love those posts that tell people like, shoot, you think you can't create content? Just record like 3 seconds
Literally.
of your day every day. That
Hmm.
is content right there. And
Yeah.
little do you know, people do want to see the face behind their brand. They want to see the little things that you're doing. Obviously, sharing the educational and value components and the
Hmm.
motivational parts and the testimonials, but like just seeing those little snippets of your everyday life, That's
Yeah.
content. One thing
No,
that I had learned from,
absolutely.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like they say, everything is content, but people, I always like to say people are nosy. Like we're nosy. Like we like to see all the tea. We want to know everything. And so use that to your advantage in a sense, right? Not in a weird way, but use that to your advantage and just share your life because people just want
Yeah,
to know. They just want to know.
I
Mm-hmm.
agree. I agree. And especially with like making the content, with anything you do in life, confidence is going to come as you show up. Because
Yep.
I was definitely one of those people, like, before I would look at people who would have their tripods and stuff and be like, how are they doing that by themselves?
Girl.
Like, they really just set their tripod up and took pictures of themselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and people are walking by looking at them. Girl, the whole time
Girl.
I was in Jamaica, I had a tripod.
That's
Never in my life
hilarious.
thought that would be me. Like, I never thought that would be me, because it
It's
literally is like
mm-hmm.
confidence.
No,
Confidence
seriously.
comes as you do. I hate that. I don't know what it is, but I hate that, like, I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or something, but you know
I
how
think
like we
it's
keep
lagging.
cutting each other off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lagging.
Um,
But
I'm
it's
gonna
okay.
like turn mine off and see if that'll
Okay.
just fix it. Brief. Okay. I want to see if this works, because I hate like having it. I hate cutting you off. So,
Yeah, and I don't want to do that to you either. It made you blurry a little bit. It blurred you out a
oh,
little.
it did.
So it's
Well,
yeah.
it made
So
you
it's up
clearer
to
for me too.
really. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. The internet. Oh my
As
god.
long as they can hear us and kind of see
Yeah.
us, that's really all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
But
right.
yeah, I would have never thought that I would be a person like going around with my tripod, like, hey, making
Hmm.
content. But seriously, as you show up and as you do it, it'll get better.
Also,
So,
I would say even sorry, even as like you educate yourself even more, like you the more knowledge that you gain on that certain area or whatever that your expertise, the more knowledge that you gain, the more confidence that you get as well. Because
yeah,
I know for me, when I first started my VA business, I did not show my face at all. Maybe on a little reel, but my covers were like black girl magic type of style covers and stuff like that, very
yeah,
graphics, but never my face because I was so nervous. But as I continued, you get more knowledgeable, you know more. You're just gonna be. It's showing your face is easy. Creating content becomes.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I love that. I love how you said, like, in the beginning, you weren't showing your face, because neither was I. But as you
Mm-hmm.
continue to show up and invest in yourself and learn more, now look at you doing your lives, showing up on reels,
Yeah.
doing all this amazing content. And it
Yeah.
really goes to show that, like, you have to continue to fight through that fear through
Yeah.
anything you do, whether it be starting a business, making the content for your business. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to just show up, and as you show up, things will not get easier, but they won't feel as difficult as they were in
Exactly.
the beginning. So
Exactly.
I love that. I also love how, like, content marketing, even though it's been clearly something that we've been doing, I mean, long before you and I were even alive, it's
Yeah.
like, think about the fact that, like, that wasn't even a term until maybe a
Right.
decade ago.
Mm-hmm. That's actually
Like,
really true. Mm-hmm.
is that not crazy? Because
That is
I
really
didn't even
crazy.
I didn't even realize that myself, like, to think that, wow, what were we calling it before? Just,
Girl, I don't know.
I don't
I
know,
wish I could tell
right?
you. I
Like,
don't know. I don't know what they were calling it before, but it's been a thing. It's really, really, really been a thing.
I agree. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted you to dive more into, like, you talked about what qualifies as content. So kind of talk about how people should get started in the content marketing journey.
Okay, so I would say that the way that you can easily get started when it comes to creating your content is really, and y'all, I hope y'all don't get tired of me asking these same old four questions, but like you really do need to know who you really want to be in this online space, right? Before you can even touch content or create a content marketing strategy, like you need to know who you want to be in this online space. You need to understand who you actually want to serve. I mean, like literally knowing them like the back of your hand. You want to know how, like what you actually want to do, and then how you actually want to serve them, right? The style in which you're going to show up in the online space and serve these people. Once you've
Yeah.
actually structured all of those things and you can easily navigate that, you can easily communicate that, then you can go into creating content that first of all aligns with you, right? Because you've already established all of these things, but it would also attract the type of person that you want to help. Literally, I say this all the time to my clients, like, girl, you cannot get that to there to be until you touch A. Until A is
Yeah.
complete, you cannot get to be. And so that's the biggest thing. Know who you want to be in the online space, establish that, okay? Figure out, understand, do the research on the people that you desire to serve. But not only that, check out your competitors too. Understand them too. Where are the gaps? Okay. That's a little T right there. Okay. But also, what do you do? What exactly do you do for them? How do you really help them? And then navigate the style in which you want to show up. That's like your uniqueness, your sauce, your pizzazz. And then you can create an effective content marketing strategy that actually works, that's actually effective for you.
Yeah. Two things that you said that really stood out to me was how you focused on like your uniqueness, your pizzazz, because I think I've been saying this in all of the lives recently that I've been doing, but like so many people are so concerned about like the market being oversaturated or even like talking about the recession that's coming. But I think that it's so important. That's why it's so important to focus on your uniqueness, your superpower, your pizzazz, because at the end of the day, nobody is like you and I, and everybody's going to present their offers in a different manner. So it's like the market is not saturated. It doesn't matter if there's a million people doing the same thing as you. They are not you. They will not provide the quality of work that you provide. Yes. And we know that. We know that from our own personal experiences with investing in ourselves before, nobody, you can't expect people to operate in the manner that you would, because one, they don't have the same upbringing, beliefs, ethics as you do, or they also have like different life experiences that have shaped them to be who they are, and that's what makes all of us so awesome. So it's like putting that, like the second thing that you said was putting that into your content to know like who it is, how you want to show up online, who you want to attract, your offers and messaging for, and just being yourself. I love that. Like that really like stood out to me. So I think that's so important for people to think when doing their content.
Yeah. Girl, I don't know. It's cutting out. It's doing the cut off thingy again.
Are you serious?
It's okay. I think it went through all the way to what you were saying, but because it lagged a little bit at the end, then I spoke and then it did the weird thing. But I think it's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm like, if Instagram does not get this resolved, I'm going to have some major concerns, because I felt like, look, in the beginning when I had my Wi-Fi on, you were breaking up a lot and you weren't really clear, but then you turned yours off and it was still a little fuzzy, but then I turned it off and now you're clear for me and I hear everything, but now you're saying I'm unclear for you.
As long as we're clear for the people, right? As long as we're clear for people who are listening.
Yeah, and for the replay, for the replay. Yeah. But either way, y'all understand it. Technology, it is what it is. You just have to continue to show up and be your authentic self no matter what, even when situations like this arise. So period. Hopefully you're still getting the gems regardless, because technology is something that we cannot control, especially with Instagram and all these darn updates. I'm sure that has something to do with like why things have been lagging lately.
No, but also Kalea says that she can hear us. They can hear us just fine. Yay, good. Okay,
perfect. Okay, and even if we look a little cloudy or whatever, as long as you can hear, that's all that really matters. So I know you kind of just touched on like what people need to do to start their own content marketing strategy, but can you give us like go further and give us like a brief overview of how to create it? I know you just said like those 4 questions, but maybe give us like the brief overview of how you would recommend people to create it without like, giving them all the sauce, since if they want to get all the sauce, they have to sign up for square one.
No, of course. Okay. So essentially, like I said, again, once you've established who you are, go into conducting market research, right? To understand who your ideal client is. Conduct that market research, understand what their pain points are, what their struggles are, their desires, the things that they're their whole entire persona, essentially. Understand that so that you can create content that aligns with them, that speaks to them, that calls them in. And all of that, in order for you to kind of navigate that, you have to really conduct intensive market research. Go deep, dive deep, look everywhere on all the social platforms and navigate that. And if you can, even like communicate with your ideal client, right? If you can hop on a call with them, a Zoom call with them, just so that you can understand where they are within their business, or what their desires, their pain points, their needs are. That's a great place to start as well. Okay. I also would suggest, again, checking out your competitors. What are they doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to go and copy them, but because we don't copy anymore. We don't copy over here.
No, but what are they lacking? That you
exactly. Where are the gaps? On? Like, what can you do? Because you now established who you are, right? Where are their gaps, right? What are the gaps that they're like creating in this space? And how can you, along with your purpose, come in and fill that gap and really help and impact people, right? That's the whole point of navigating your competitors. Once you've done that, now you can go ahead and like sit down and actually figure out what type of content or what questions are people asking regarding my industry, right? What are these people asking, right? Then you can go ahead and create content that, for one, aligns with you, two, speaks to your ideal client, also fills the gap in the market because nobody else is talking about it, and then also, it just ultimately, once all of that is concluded together, that is an effective piece of content. That's a piece of content that actually converts. That's a piece of content that actually impacts people. When you put your focus, get your focus off of, oh, I need to make a quick buck.
Sales.
Exactly. When you get your mind off of sales, okay, now you can start focusing on impact and create content that actually converts and does what you already initially wanted to do. Get your minds off of sale, especially when you're in the beginning of your business. Stop harping on sales, structure the things that you need to structure, do the research that you need to do, analyze the market, and then come back with an effective content marketing strategy to get the sale. Okay?
Exactly.
That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of that, and a couple of things again that you said that really stood out to me with building your content marketing strategy was again looking at your competitors, because
Mm-hmm.
seeing what those gaps are, because when you obviously never to copy, cheat, whatever, at the end of the
Yeah.
day it's all content. We all can create
Right.
the same type of content but in different ways. So I
Yeah.
think that I really hate that whole you cheated on me or you content, whatever. Like, obviously, never
Mm-hmm.
verbatim plagiarize or anything. But at the end
Right.
of the day, content is used to be inspired, and we
Yeah.
all may produce the same message or the
Mm-hmm.
same piece of content, but in such a different way that it's like, I love that you
Absolutely.
said, look at your competitors. And when looking at your competitors, look at like their comments, because the
Yeah.
questions that people are asking in their comments
Exactly.
are what they want answered. So that's how you can create content. So I really love that aspect of like looking at your competitors and seeing, you know, the gaps that they're having, because these are the
Mm-hmm.
gaps that you can fill in and in your business, and then you won't be missing anything. You know,
Exactly.
you'll be positioned as a better expert than that person because you
Mm-hmm.
close those gaps. I also loved how you're talking about like eliminating the sales component when you
Mm-hmm.
first launch your business or when you first start out, because the whole point of sales is being able to also, you know, as you touched on, being able to sell to your clients' pain points, being able to sell to their pleasure points. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what their pain or pleasure points are and you're just creating this content to sell, you're not
Girl.
selling to anyone, because you don't even know who your dream or ideal clients are. You haven't
Yep.
created that messaging or that marketing strategy to be
Mm-hmm.
able to implement the right resources or information to bring them in. So I think that's so important to know too, is that like in the beginning, do not focus on sales and
Yeah.
focus on creating all this content to build your brand, to position yourself as a leader or an authority in
Mm-hmm.
whatever industry that you're in. And then as you continue to do that, then you can transition into content that's going to, you know, give you sales. Where in the
Right.
sense of like in the beginning, I really started off, you know, a lot of educational, a lot of
Yeah.
motivational. Still, I do educational and motivational,
Mm-hmm.
but now I also do a lot of things that are feeding into, you know, individuals who want to have their own virtual assistant business. Like I'm
Yeah.
focusing on the fact, like, aren't you tired of your 9 to 5? You know, focusing
Mm-hmm.
on those pain points, focusing on their pleasure points. Don't you want more freedom to spend with your
Mm-hmm.
loved ones? You know, but in the beginning, if I would have just started doing that, that would have been stupid on my part, because one, I wasn't even offering this as a service when I
Yeah.
first started. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
pivoted, we all pivot. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another great thing is like, as you pivot, your messaging and your marketing strategy will need to change and be updated. It's not like you get a perfect one and it stays as is.
Mm-hmm. No,
So I know,
absolutely.
you're touching on
Sorry,
like,
to just
you
to add on to what you were saying.
please.
Sorry, girl. But to add on to what you were saying, it's like throwing spaghetti on the wall, right? When you're posting content just to post content without any marketing tactics or any strategy, period, you're throwing spaghetti on the wall, hoping that it sticks. It don't stick. The spaghetti is not done yet. Finish cooking the spaghetti, girl. Finish cooking it all the way through so that it can actually work. It sticks, it works, it's effective, it converts. Okay. And also, another thing that I wanted to touch on really quickly is that this is the problem with a lot of experts and people who are in these fields. They're lacking, they're not telling everybody everything that it really takes in order to make your business successful. And that's a problem, right? Because we want to be people who run businesses with full integrity, right? Because
Yeah.
the point is making impact. If you're not
Yeah.
focused on sales, you're focused on impact, you're going to run your business from a place of integrity. So tell it like it is. Say everything that is required, right? It takes 16 minutes to cook spaghetti. Okay, then it takes 16 minutes to cook spaghetti until it's al dente and it can stick to the wall. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like, the
Yeah.
point of the matter is, like, let's run our businesses from a place of integrity so that as we market, we're actually leaving impact, and we're able to, once impact is created, the money flows. It just comes in.
Exactly.
It comes
I
in.
love that. It is all about impact and integrity because as you and I both know, a lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
out here giving that like surface level information, and
Yeah.
that's not going to allow anybody to create the life or businesses or
No.
marketing strategies that they truly want because they're just getting this like surface level information. They're not
Right.
getting the real nitty gritty, the
Mm-hmm.
ins and outs of how to actually do it. So I love, like, that's another thing that really just drew me to you in the beginning, not even like knowing that we were on that same page in regards to
Right.
like integrity and ethics, but
Mm-hmm.
like it kind of just exhumed through your content because how you were showing up. So I love like how that is such a big deal for both of us is
Mm-hmm.
literally making an impact with integrity. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, obviously we all want to make the income, we all want to,
Yeah.
we have bills to pay stuff, but
Right.
like we're not out here just creating these offers just because we have bills to pay. Like, we're like, nah,
Exactly.
we're gonna put the time in, we're gonna have these late nights, early mornings
Yeah.
to work on the back end of our businesses, work on our programs, work on our offers, and making sure
Mm-hmm.
that not only are we providing value and putting people in a position to win, but
Mm-hmm.
we're also allowing ourselves to make an impact within our business while being
Yeah.
paid what we deserve and what we should be
Yeah.
getting.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So I love that.
Hey,
Hey.
Tyler.
So I know you like touched on all these things, but I think that you can't say it enough because I think that's the whole reason why everyone's here is
Right.
that they're seeing this on social media all the time. They're seeing us talk about content marketing. They're seeing talk about mindset. They're seeing all these things, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
these are things that need to be reiterated because I think that's how people get the messages when they
Yeah.
continuously see it. Sometimes they see it and they're oblivious to it, but then
Mm-hmm.
the more it shows up in their face, they're like, "Hey, maybe I should truly listen."
Yeah.
So when you're talking about building out your brand, I want us to touch on all these, little bullets and then sub
Mm-hmm.
bullets. So I'm gonna let you kind of take the field and me touch in as is, but this is, your area of expertise, and I want to learn and hear from you. So I know you were talking about like when they're building out their brand, making sure that they have their target audience and customer
Mm-hmm.
personas, but like kind of go into more depth on what each of those means and how people can do so.
Okay, so as far as our target audience goes, right? Again, it goes back to these four questions that I typically always like to ask everybody. Like, who is it that you actually want to serve? Like, if you don't know who you want to serve, first of all, you're not going to know what kind of content to create. You're not going to even know the type of offers that you need to offer for these people in order to leave that impact that they need, right? And so, creating or understanding who your target audience is crucial. It's crucial to business. Like, it's literally a process that's in every step of building a business, from your business plan to your marketing strategy, your brand strategy, your content strategy. It always touches back to who is your target audience, because there is no sense in starting a business and you don't know who you actually want to serve and what they actually need. And so that's in general what your target audience is. And in order for you to navigate them, again, market research, understand the market, understand their pain points, understand their needs, their desires, all of those things, so that you can not only create content that speaks to those things, but you can build offers, okay, that actually help them with these things, okay?
Yeah.
Creating your customer personas. Again, once you've conducted that market research, you understand your target audience, who you actually desire to serve. You can create customer personas, and essentially, it's all about like creating a fictitious character, your ideal dreamy client, that girl, you know what I'm saying? That girl that you just
Yeah.
desire, that you know you can leave the most optimal impact on, and touching still on those pain points, those desires, those goals that she has, and just creating that persona and making sure that as you create content, right, especially content that's more promotional, you're speaking directly to her, right? Let's call her
Yeah.
Shannon. Okay, Shannon is a 24 something year old woman, Okay, she is single, but she's working a 9 to 5 job, and she wants to really establish her business on a more optimal level. Okay, that's a persona. So when you're
Yeah.
going to create that content, you're going to speak to the fact that she's still at that 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
struggling. You know what I'm saying? She don't want to be there. It's not cute. Okay, you're done. You're over it. All right, you're speaking to these things because that's literally exactly what she is. Because you did the research, navigating who your target audience is, you can create this persona, right?
Yeah.
And then you could take that persona and create content that tells the story about her, where she is and where she needs to be
Yeah.
in her life, in her journey with business, right? And then as far as company voice goes, like your voice as a brand, your voice as a business, it's your personality, right? Because we want to make sure that we're humanizing our business, making sure that it's literally who we are. As you can
Yeah.
see, I'm pretty animated as a person. Okay, I'm pretty animated with my husband, with my mama, my daddy, everybody. They know who I am. They know how I am. And so I just try to show up as that in my content, in videos, in every way, in every situation, because ultimately that is what humanizes me, and that's what attracts people to actually want to work with me in the first place. Because really, I'm not going to want to invest in a robot, right? I don't want to
Yeah.
invest into somebody who's just trying to take my money. I want to
Yeah.
actually build relationship with this person. I want to know this person. I want to, like, I just want, you feel me? I want to know all of you, because again, we're nosy.
Yeah.
We want all of that. We want that relationship, because ultimately as human beings, that's what we really crave.
Yeah.
In the center of us, of who we are, we desire relationship. And so if you take the time to map out that brand voice, right, cultivate that so that you can actually humanize your business, that is what's going to actually draw in those clients that you desire to work with, call in those ideal clients, so that you can make lasting impact in their business, so that they can go singing your praises to other people, and then the overflow just
Exactly.
comes. Okay, the overflow just comes. And girl, that's just that on it. I went on a tangent, but that's that's
No, but I
ultimately.
love it. Like that's why I felt like I know that you had already touched on it a couple
Hmm.
times, but it's like sometimes people just have to hear it in different multiple ways, because it's like maybe they didn't understand the first way you said it or the
Yeah,
second, but they hear it and understand it this way. People just learn differently, or
yeah,
certain verbiage doesn't resonate with them. So that's why I always say, like, let's dive deeper. Let's go deeper into
yeah.
that, because like I love that. And I love how you really broke down the whole personas, like sometimes people, oftentimes I think too that we have to forget, like, our target audience at times doesn't know the vocabulary or the messages that we're
Right.
putting. So it's like to even break it down in layman terms. And
Hmm.
also, a lot of the times, your target persona or your dream client was or is you currently.
Yeah,
It was you at a certain
yeah.
point, or it is you
Hmm.
now. Like, so think about the things that you want, or the things that you wish you had or didn't have, or whatever. And like, that's a great starting point too, because most
Yeah.
of the time you are your ideal client, and or
Hmm.
at one point you were, because
Hmm.
as you evolve, then obviously that won't be the same messaging anymore, but at one point you are.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Just like you were a VA, you needed a mentor, you needed a coach. And so you can use your whole entire VA journey as a way of creating a persona that speaks to people where you were. You know what I'm saying? It all comes back full circle ultimately. It's really cool. Just this whole
Yeah,
entire thing is just super cool, interesting.
I
And,
love it. I mean, this is how you build your brand. This is how you're
yeah.
building your authenticity. This is how you're getting those real supporters, those, would you say your extreme supporters, the one that are going
Yeah.
to follow you wherever you
That
go,
cult like following.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You jumping off a bridge, they're coming with you type stuff.
Girl. Ooh, child.
But seriously, so how do
Hmm.
you, like, when making all this content, what do you recommend in regard to, like, the platforms that people should show up on? Should they select one and then focus on that one? Should they, like, kind of expand it multiple ways? Because at the end of the day, I know that you can, repurpose content. So what do you
Hmm.
recommend?
Okay. So this is an unpopular opinion, because everybody and their dad are going to tell you to just focus on one platform. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they all say. But me, I don't really think that, right? Because ultimately we're marketing our business, right? And we want to make sure that even before we start putting money into our business, like ads and things of that nature. We want to make sure that we are optimizing visibility. We want to be seen everywhere, right? And so I personally think tap into three platforms. Okay, I'm sorry. Tap into three platforms. Okay, I like Instagram. Okay, because it's a great nurturing platform, but we also need visibility, right? So think about TikTok. You get a lot of exposure on TikTok. So
Yeah.
repurpose your Instagram reels and put them as TikToks. The carousel post that you do, create a video, put it on TikTok. Like, it could be also simple. Another great platform that not everybody is really talking about is Pinterest. Oh my God, Pinterest
Oh
is that
yeah.
girl. Do you know the amount of reach and visibility that you can get on Pinterest? Hop onto Pinterest. Okay.
Yeah.
People will say, stick to one platform, master that platform. Yes, I
Yeah.
understand. I get it. That's good and dandy. But if you really want optimal visibility, if you're ready for that though, right? If you're ready for that optimal visibility, you can actually handle that, right? You've already established that whole back end of your business, who you are, what you do, who you serve, and how you serve them. Going for that optimal visibility, check out three platforms. Something that's good with nurturing, which is Instagram, and then like extreme visibility, which is like TikTok and Pinterest. 2 to 3
Yeah.
platforms. That's what I'll say.
I like that you and I don't agree on this
Yeah.
one for sure. We don't agree on this one. I still
It's
love you
okay.
though. I will say, like at the end of the day, everybody has their own perspective on how they
Mhm.
think on how they should run their business or create the content. I personally think that obviously if I had a team, then
Mhm.
focusing on multiple different platforms would be amazing because I would just have my team do that. But because I am a solopreneur, sometimes
Mhm.
my time is already spread so thin because it's like I'm
Mhm.
working on the back end, I'm working on my client work, I'm working on content, I'm working
Yeah.
on uploading that content. So for me, I always say and typically promote to my clients to perfect one platform, get
Mhm.
so good at that platform, and then emulate the strategy that you created for that platform on other platforms. So don't
Yeah.
stay at one platform forever. I
Yeah.
definitely agree with expanding as time
Okay.
goes on, but
Mhm.
in the beginning, I think that if you focus too much on navigating all these platforms, you'll get sucked in and not focus on what really matters, which is like creating your
Right.
offers, getting your messaging
Mhm.
out there. So it's like,
Agreed.
I
Agreed to a degree.
agree to agree. But I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with you too. Maybe just,
Mhm.
not in the beginning hopping
Yeah.
on that three. Down the road for sure, have multiple, like
Mhm.
it's so, especially with repurposing your content, it's like, why not?
Exactly.
That's why you have this content to repurpose it. But when you're doing it by yourself, I think that it could take away from the revenue generating
Mhm.
activities that you should be focusing on because here you are thinking about posting on three different platforms.
Right.
What's on
I
your
would
mind?
also say, that depends on how your business is structured, right? What your business model really looks like, right? So depending on if you're doing done for you services, DIY services, you have digital product, what exactly is the model of your business? How is that structured? Maybe you'll actually have more time to post on multiple platforms. So depending on
Yeah.
the model of your business overall, right? What you're actually doing within your business, how much time is being dedicated to taking care of your clients and stuff like that matters too. So maybe think about that. Again, it goes all the way back to who are you? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Who do you want to serve? And how do you want to serve them, girl? Once you
Yeah.
navigated all of that, then you can determine, okay, sticking to one platform is just the best bet for me. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, at the end of the day, we're running a business that just feels good for us, right?
Yeah.
It has to feel good to you. So if three platforms does not feel good to you, then don't do it. Don't do
Yeah.
it. And if
I
one
love that
platform
too.
doesn't feel like enough, go more. You don't have to. It's
Exactly.
up to you. Whatever's best. We give you our thoughts, our ideas,
Yeah.
what we think is good. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're running your business, it has to feel good to you. It has to make
Yeah.
sense for you, right? Because we're all about building businesses that feels good intuitively. Like it just feels good in your gut, you know?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I love that. I love how you like sum that up too, because it's so true. It is, we created these businesses because we want a life of freedom. We want a life that we love. We want to make impact. We don't
Yeah.
want to like be controlled by what others are doing in our own
Right.
business. That's not the purpose of
Mm-hmm.
doing this. So I love how you like tied that all back into being, intuitive within our business and making sure that we
Mm-hmm.
do those things. So
Yeah.
kind of like to bring it back in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
back on content strategy, what are some types of content that people need to make once they actually do hone in on who they are, what their
Mm-hmm.
messaging is, who they want to, who their ideal client is. What type of content do you recommend that they make? And I know that we have a bunch, so I want you to name like a bunch, and if you want, and then like your top three or your top one or whatever that
Okay.
is.
Okay. So think about creating content because remember, again, understanding your ideal client is necessary. We as people generally are very nosy. We want to know everything. And so, behind the scenes content, great types of content to create, right? Your framework, your unique process, great type of content to create because, again, people want to know everything, the ins and outs of you and your business. So, stuff like that. Testimonials is another great thing to create because people need to know if what you're offering actually works. Does it work?
Yeah.
Can it actually sustain them? Along with testimonials, think about case studies like showing people's process from the beginning of working with you before they even work with you, the process or the journey during working with you, and then the aftermath of that, right? Because people need a story. A story helps them understand things better and they can actually see themselves within that story and make an easy decision on whether or not you're the one that they need to work with, right?
Yeah.
So stuff like that. um Also within that, within these types of content, right, the frameworks, the behind the scenes, the testimonials, and all of these other stuff, the case studies, all the things, determine the style in which you want to do that. Like, do you want to make it more educational? Do you want to make it more inspirational? Do you want to make it something that's a little bit more fun and engaging? Like, what's the vibe that of that piece of content that you want to create, and create content based off of that, right? So those are the types of content that I would create. But I think that one of the number one pieces of content that really, 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 really work. Um, okay, I would say there's two. Number one would be like more evergreen style content. So like
Oh
evergreen
yeah.
style content, being like, okay, coming up with those questions, the questions that people are always asking, right? Questions that people will always ask, whether they're at the
Yeah.
beginning of their business or the end of their business, they're going to always typically have these same questions. And you may start off with three people needing the answer to these questions, and then hundreds more need the same answer to these questions. And that's what kind of like makes something evergreen because it's like ongoing. People are going to always need the answer to this. And so,
Yeah.
educational content that kind of answers commonly asked questions, right? Creating guides and checklists and things like that that people are just going to always need and refer back to is like
Yeah.
good style content to create. They're really effective. I would also say another type of content to create that is really, really effective is like, how do I want to call it? I want to call it calling people out content. Like calling people out.
Ooh, I
It
think I'm good
works.
at that.
Girl, call them out. Let them know, like, girl, because you need to talk to them. They need to know that you're talking directly to them, right? They don't only need to be educated. Their minds need to be shifted. Their minds, their thought processes need to be corrected because they may not be at that place yet, ready to invest with you. But that piece of content can really make them recognize, oh, this is where I am.
Yeah, she
Yikes,
was
I
talking to
don't really
me.
want to be there.
Dang.
Yes,
That
dang,
tough
like,
love.
you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe Alaina got something going on right there. Maybe she's saying something that I need to listen to. Okay, because we need to be shifting, not only just providing all of the free content. We need to be shifting minds, right? Changing minds,
Really shifting
transforming
content.
people, preparing them for what's to come in order for them to actually step into that highest version of themselves for their overall business, right? And so
Yeah.
again, this is why you need to shift your focus out of making money. Like, stop focusing on that and focus on creating an impact because that is what will optimally, like, ultimately change the game in your business. Okay, it was when I
Exactly.
made that shift that things started to change. Okay, just saying, that's my little 2 cents. But yeah.
No, I agree. Look, I love everything that you just said, and I 100% agree. Like when I always wanted to make an impact, but when I finally kind of like stepped into my purpose of knowing
Mhm.
that being a virtual assistant coach and not just being a VA and
Yeah.
putting other women in a position to create their own business and quit their 9 to 5,
Hmm.
that's when I really was like, wow, like this is feeding my soul. This is what I
Yes.
love to do. And it was
Hmm.
like the content now rolls off like it's nothing for me to
Easy.
just, I mean, and sometimes I prep it and sometimes I don't. I can still
Hmm.
just wake up any day, take 10 minutes or less than, boop, 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 voila,
Yep.
done.
And it
Because I
creates
know what,
impact because it's coming from a place that's purpose. It's ultimately coming from a purposeful place, and that's the goal here. That's ultimately the goal, especially when it comes to content marketing. To make it effective, it has to leave an impact. It has to make people want to do something. Okay, it has to make them want to move.
And we are all so funny enough, the gentleman that created the term content marketing, his name is
Mhm.
Joe Pulizzi,
Mhm.
and he also like associated with another content, him and another content expert, Robert Rose and Joe Pulizzi. They created the term content marketing. So
Mhm.
recently, though, Joe has also created a new term. It's called content entrepreneur. And I
Okay.
said, how that's like a perfect term to describe all of us, whether being
Yeah.
a virtual assistant, social media manager, whatever it is, because literally we are all in the job of producing content and being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. So it's like
Mhm.
I thought it was like once I heard that term, I said, "Oh wow, that is like a perfect." Obviously, yes, I am a virtual assistant coach, but I'm
Mhm.
also a content entrepreneur because I'm
Yeah.
producing all this content as an entrepreneur to bring it back to my business. So I thought
Yeah.
that was great too because it's like,
Yeah. It's
you know,
awesome.
you these terms that we don't even know or that are just being created, you know.
Mhm.
So it's like fairly new to the game. This stuff is like only not even, I mean, what, a decade old, if that. So that's still really
Exactly.
new in marketing.
Exactly. Absolutely. It is new. And this is why people need to get on board, hop on it, because it's gonna start picking up really fast. It's new. It's a baby, right? We're a baby at this stage with the marketing game as far as content marketing goes or content entrepreneurship goes. Like
Yeah.
hop on it, hop on the trend and let it fly you away. Just like
Social media
YouTube.
managers. Oh,
Look,
okay. Two things. We're on the same page though.
look, just like with you said social media managers, I'm gonna say YouTubers. Like years ago, nobody was about to upload no videos on no YouTube to do what? Become influencers, like what? But those who hopped on the trend, they're gone. Okay? They're where they want to be.
Gone.
Look, okay? So new, fairly new, yes. People might criticize it, yes, but it's working, it's effective. And can you imagine a decade from now where it'll be?
Yeah.
Right?
And people are going to criticize you no matter what you do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to keep pushing forward or are you going to let these naysayers try to hold you back? Like,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
period.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
You
the
and your
difference between
period.
like,
You love
look,
saying period.
I know, gosh. It's, but that's, I feel
It's
like it's at the
okay.
perfect time all the time for it too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
period. Them
Yeah.
naysayers, like,
Period,
they will
girl.
try to
Yeah.
hold you back. They will try to prevent you from thinking that what you're doing is worthy. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where mindset comes into play. That's why it's so
Yeah.
important to have this, you know, positive mindset that's going to make sure that you stay focused on achieving your goals because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, what anybody else is saying, how people feel about you. All that matters is how you feel about yourself and the
Mm-hmm.
impact that you're creating within your community because at the end of the
Yeah.
day people who know you and respect you and want to work with you, they know your heart, they know your true
Yeah.
intentions, and that's all that matters is, you know, how you're viewed to the people that you care about. All them
No.
other people, who cares about that, like, at the
Yeah.
end of the day. So
Agreed,
I
girl.
also I saw that we were talking on here too. We had a bullet about like the importance of sharing content, but not the step
Mm-hmm.
by step process. So what
Yeah.
do you mean by that?
So essentially, meaning like when you're creating content, you don't have to give away all of your sauce, all of your juice. You just give them a general idea of what that looks like for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to give away all of your strategy. Like nobody's telling you to give away your offer for free, but people need to know an overview or have an overview of what that looks like so that they can literally position themselves in that and see, okay, if I were to work with Alaina, this is what our process would look like. This is exactly what we would be doing together. And this is where I am today. This is where I'll be tomorrow if I were to go through this process with Alaina. Does that make sense? So I think
Yeah.
that's ultimately what I meant by that.
Okay. I love that too because that just made
Mm-hmm.
me immediately think about how you talk about your offers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the square one and how you post it and like you show them, you give them the walkthrough, you're giving the
Yeah.
videos. And then same
Mm-hmm.
thing like showing up on social media for myself or stories and talking about our offer and what they'll get as
Mm-hmm.
they go through the program. So I another way to create content, you know,
Exactly.
easy but direct and to the point and allows people to
Mm-hmm.
know where they are. And I will say too, this just made me think of like you can give people all like you could literally bring them to the water, you can give them all
Yeah.
the resources and tools, but some people still won't even implement it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's another reason with repurposing content, right? Because sometimes we have to remember that we're in like a very consumer centered or focused time where
Yeah.
people are just consuming. And so creating your content over and over and over again, right? Because again, the first time they see that piece of content, they're not going to necessarily drink from the water, right? You're going to bring it to the
Yeah.
horse, but the horse may not drink it. So you have to
Yeah.
continuously keep on bringing that piece of content. And also, again, not just educating them, but like calling them out so that they know and are ready to drink that water. Girl, you are thirsty, horse. Horse, you're thirsty.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not calling anybody horse, but you know what I mean? Like, but like, you know what I mean? Horse, you're
No,
thirsty, so
like
you
this
need
is
to
for
drink.
you. What are you waiting on? Your life is
Yeah,
passing you by. Time is passing you by. If you don't drink this
literally.
darn water right now.
Girl, you're gonna pass out. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna end well for you. And so, yeah, ultimately that. Ultimately that.
Perfect, because that segues in right into the next question, which is how often do you think people should be making content?
Make content as often as you can, girl. There is no limit to it, or there is no minimum number that you can do it. Well, kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit. You need to be showing up as often as you can, but there's no limit to the amount of times that you can show up. So as often as you can, create the content. Create the
Yeah.
content because you live life every day. Create the content. Like, people need to know. People need to see things over and over again. Alaina reiterated this like twice on this live. Like, people need to hear the same thing over and over and over again. So just because you posted this piece of content as a carousel today doesn't mean that next week you can't post it as a reel. You need to, because your
Yeah.
content didn't hit with how it was supposed to hit them that initial time. So you got to post it again next week so that they can hear it another way and
Yeah.
understand what you're trying to tell them. You know what I'm saying? So like, create content as often as you can. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
I love that. I think so too. Every day, like just like
Mm-hmm.
how we were saying, those little snippets, especially now with video being the forefront content, it's
Right.
like just record a 3 seconds, like, every hour or however, like
Mm-hmm.
randomly when you think about it, record a little snippet of a video or something. Like lately,
Yeah.
something I've been doing is I'll just set up my tripod and
Mm-hmm.
walk in front of it and walk down and come back. Voila,
Yeah.
now I got a video that I walked and I can just put some words on it that,
Right.
relate to the message that I have. But that
Mm-hmm.
also made me think where you said like repurposing content. So like,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about we already said this too, but I think a lot of people are like, what do you mean when you mean repurpose it? Like exactly what Rose just said, how you may have made a carousel post, but now you can make it a reel. So
Yeah.
what are some other ways that people can repurpose their content?
So it's not only about repurposing on just one platform again. This goes back to,
Yeah.
if you desire to spread your arms across multiple, or dip your hands or your toes into multiple platforms, you can simply do that by repurposing your content. Like, take your reels, create TikToks out of it, right? The carousels that you have, right? Create video content out of those carousels. You know what I'm saying? Post those carousels onto TikTok. Maybe take those things and create a blog, a
Yeah.
YouTube video, like whatever it is that you want to do. Like, you can repurpose your content to be whatever it is that you want it to be. And it's just a matter of creating content, again, that is attractive to your audience, that attracts them, calls them in, that aligns with you. You're telling your story of who you are, you're calling them out from where they are, and then repurposing it onto various platforms so that you can get optimal visibility, if one platform still okay, because
Yeah.
it's about creating that impact initially, right? And
Yeah.
repurposing that content over and over again so that they can get the message. Get the message, get the message, get the message. Yeah. So yeah.
Yep, and I love that. And just starting from somewhere, like you said, I know that we didn't agree on that, but like I said, I still feel as though
Mm-hmm.
down the road you
Yeah.
still should have multiple platforms. But in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, hone in on whichever one you prefer the most, because
Yeah.
as Rose has said numerous times, like the whole purpose of being a online business owner, online service provider, VA, social media manager, coach, is because we wanted to create a business that you know
Feels good.
matches our ethics, morals, and
Yeah.
is makes us feel intuitive and makes us
Yeah.
make that impact. It's about what really feels good to us, not about
Mm-hmm.
obviously take the advice and the education that we're providing and that you get all over social media, but you have to take that information and make it work best for you. Don't just
Exactly.
post 400. She said post 400 times. I gotta post 400 times. Like, no, whatever
Exactly.
feels
No.
good to you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us too lately are just so consumed in the fact of like taking people's information directly or verbatim as it is, where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like you need to take it and turn it around or add
Cultivate
your
it.
own little
Get
pizzazz,
yours.
put some
Mm-hmm.
sprinkles in there,
Mm-hmm.
whatever works best for you. Find out what that is.
Yeah.
So I know we're almost done, but these are like, I love these questions that we have last, but like, so what are the most common content marketing mistakes that your clients or people that you've worked with have seen, or in your comments, or?
Okay, so I'm going to speak on myself and what I
Okay.
see today, right? Um, the biggest one is that all you're doing is promoting yourself. Stop. That should not be the only type of content that you create, right? We
Yeah.
understand what you do and how you do it, right?
Yeah.
But how does that relate to the person that you're trying to call into your business? Like, we cannot only create promotional content, and also it cannot only be educational content either. Like, we have to have a variety, a good mix, a good matrix of content to create for people so that we can pull them in wherever they are, whether they are unaware or completely aware of their problem. We need to be able to create content in a way that gets them wherever they are in their lives and
Yeah.
pulls them in to your business because they genuinely, need the help. And so I think that's one of the biggest ones. You can't just promote and then they don't know that they need your services. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. But also, I guess I'm going back to these 4 questions again. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And how do you serve them? Like, if you have not established this, like, your content is not going to be doing anything, right? It's not
Yeah.
going to do anything. It's, again, like throwing spaghetti on the wall, expecting it to stick, and it wasn't even done. It wasn't cooked through yet. It's like it's not ready. You have to make sure that you have established that first before you can go in and create content that actually is effective, that's actually impactful, that actually works and brings about the transformation or the conversion that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Um, Start at the beginning, from square one. Shameless plug, but from square one. Hello.
Check, check. No, I love that. Look, and you're
Mm-hmm.
about to tell us all more about that too. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely enjoy how you were focusing on the fact that, like, making sure that people are creating a variety of content to make sure that it's pulling in their audience at that different stages of wherever they're
Yeah.
at within their
Mm-hmm.
life and business, because that's why it's so important to have all that different type of content and repurposing it, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody is at a different stage. So this
Exactly.
this sort of goes back to where you're talking about that target persona.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how we were saying, you can talk Rachel or whatever, Rachel Winner, or whoever it is that your target persona is. So just know that, like, your ideal client, there might be different versions of them. And that's
Yeah,
why it's important to have the
exactly.
different, yeah, because it's like you may have, Rachel, the beginner VA who's stuck at her
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5, but then the aspiring VA who's stuck at her 9 to 5 and wants to leave. But then you may
Mm-hmm.
have Alaina, the current VA who's not hitting 4+ figure months or whatever it
Yeah.
is, but your offers and your services will still relate to both of them. So it's like you want to
Yeah.
make sure that you're making content
That
for
calls
both.
them.
So I
Yeah.
love how you touched on that, like making
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're making content for, like, the different stages that people are at in
Yeah.
within their life of your ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
so two more things. I know we're about to be
Okay,
wrapping
girl.
up soon. This was so awesome, but
It was. It
um,
was fun. I had fun.
definitely look, love to watch all your stuff about content. Love how knowledgeable you
Girl,
are about it, and then this is
thank
awesome.
you.
So, what is one major tip that you would tell people on how they can create more engaging content? What's the number one tip? Is it your 4 questions or something?
Girl, we're always gonna go back to these 4 questions because ultimately that's where it stems from, right?
Yeah.
But to create more engaging content, remember, again, people are nosy. They really want to know who you are and what it is that you do and how you do it. And so thinking back to how can we really take this nosiness and, like, you feel me, make it work for us, right? So showing them your behind the scenes process, showing them your frameworks, your unique processes, like show them everything. Like, you, again, don't have to give all your sauce and all your tea away in order for you to show the structure and the systems and how you do things, right? For me,
Yeah.
I'm a foundational girl. Like, I love to start from the very beginning. Give me my step, but what is number one? What is
Yeah.
number two? What is, like, take me through all
What
of
is
that.
my roadmap?
Exactly. Like, I need to know all of the things that I need to do. And that way I'll feel more confident in, like, working with you or operating with you, like, or doing anything with you. Because just like with you with this live, I really appreciated the fact that you wanted to sit with me first. We created like an outline of what this live is going to look like, what we're going to be touching on, what we're going to be talking about, because it makes me feel a lot more confident showing up, or it makes me feel more confident investing or collaborating with somebody. You know what I'm saying? People need that. That brings the confidence. They feel more trust. They build more trust, or they have more trust within you, trusting that you will literally take their hand and guide them through that entire process. And so showing that, it's like chef's kiss for your business. Like, show
Yeah.
them your process, show them your framework, you know? Chef's kiss. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Show them that.
Salt, babe.
Yeah. It's like corny, Alaina. I'm just so
No,
corny.
I know.
It's
I
so
am
funny.
too. I am too. Sorry. But no, I love that. Seriously. Like everything you've been saying this entire conversation, I cannot like stress how
Hmm.
valuable this has been. And the last question, and then after that, I want you to like tell people how we can work with you, find you. But this very last question, just because we've touched on it a couple of times, is how you were telling people how they need to find out what their target audience or their ideal audience, the questions that they have. So
Hmm.
what are some resources? I know we stated like going to your competitors' Instagram and looking
Hmm.
at their comments, but what are some resources that people can utilize so that they can find out what content they should be creating for their business and their ideal client?
Okay. So a couple. Okay, so people might shame this, okay, because the girls like to tussle on social media about certain
Yeah.
things. But girl, Google, like Google, people,
Yes.
don't you go on Google and ask a bunch of questions? Like,
Yes.
girl, go on Google, take those questions and answer them for people, because people are always on Google trying to answer or ask questions. Another
Yeah.
great platform is Answer the Public, right? Because Answer the Public has a variety of questions that people again are asking. I'm pretty sure they probably stem from Google in some way, shape, or
Google.
form. You know what I'm saying? So like it all kind of comes back to Google. Google is that girl. Stop letting the people tell you that Google is not that girl. Okay? Google is
Exactly.
that girl. Like you can find questions that people need answers to on Google. Okay. Not only that, think about Pinterest, think about Instagram again, because people are, asking questions on Instagram. TikTok is another great one because people are creating content on these questions. Like,
Yeah.
look at all the platforms. Like, don't let people play you. Check everything
Love
out.
that.
Look at everything. Yeah.
Look, there is enough resources and avenues and
Hmm.
methods for you to find out what it is that your target audience is. And if you don't feel like you're ready to step into those resources, like don't forget, like you probably are your ideal
Yes.
client.
There
So
you go.
start thinking about
Hmm.
your pain points, your pleasure points, and go from there. But I also 100% recommend using those resources because that's
Hmm.
how I build my content. That's how I look for great, messages for my stuff, as well as like just creating the best story and offers and
Hmm.
services and content through everything. So,
Yeah.
Rose, this has been so awesome. I
Yes,
love
it
chatting with
has. I've
you.
had so
Love your whole vibe. Can't wait to
Thank
like
you.
link in person whenever I come visit you
Yes.
in Florida.
Or when I come visit you in Atlanta, girl.
Yeah, come. But tell everybody like how they can work with you, how they can follow you, the links that they need.
Okay, so you guys can follow me here. My name on Instagram is at Essentially Social Co. Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok as Rose Loreston, RoseLoreston. I'm also on Pinterest as Essentially Social Co. So you can find me over there too. As you can see, I'm practicing what I preach. I'm dabbling in a little bit of everything. Okay. As far as working with me goes, right now, my current offer is from square one, right? And it's for the woman who is really ready to go back into the very foundations of their business and really structure it in a way that feels good to them, that is actually effective. It calls in those ideal clients that they desire to work with because they made the decision to really go back to, again, from square one, like the beginning, right? And so for that, as of right now, it's currently on pre-sale. I'm currently in my launch phase right now for it. And so for pre-sale prices, it is only, yeah, thank you. It is $297 for a 90-minute one-on-one session. And after that, you would also get the call replay. I provide you with an implementation map, which is like, again, I can't just give you information without giving you the 1, 2, 3, 4 step-by-step process of how to actually implement this. So you get your implementation map, and then you have my support for a week of Voxer. And when I tell you I'm supported, like, girl, like, how can I help you today? How can I help you? Like, let me help you. Let me support you. You get all of that during our week together. And so that's one of the number one ways to work with me right now. I'm currently actually phasing the social blueprint into something a little bit different, something a little bit more community based, because I think that with offers or with anything within business, right, we need to have that push and pull aspect, right? So we need somebody, a mentor, a guide, a strategist who can pull us, but we also need community to push us so that we can effectively pivot, effectively launch, effectively go wherever it is that we need to go. So the
Yeah.
social blueprint kind of on pause, but she's restructuring. She's getting her life together. She's getting a facelift. She's becoming something
Gonna come back
different.
bigger and better.
Girl, listen. So right now, from square one is that one way to work with me. So if you're interested, send me a DM, girl, and I'll give you even more details.
Love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, again, I'm Alaina, the owner of Elite VA Services, your favorite virtual assistant coach. If you want to work with me, I actually have also released some new coaching offers
Yeah.
today, but my main way is to work with me within VA the Elite Way. So you can create your high-end virtual assistant business and sign clients in 90 days. All that information that you need is linked in my bio. I would love to help you create a life of your dreams and start your own virtual assistant business. So Rose, thank you so much for sharing this platform with me today. I've learned so much more about content marketing. You're so knowledgeable. I enjoyed our
Thank you.
conversation, and
Thank
just
you.
thank you so much for sharing today with me. And
Thank you.
can't wait to get this replay on our page so people
Yeah.
can watch the replay.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you choosing me to really like talk to people about this particular topic because like again, it's something that I absolutely love and I'm just thankful that you gave me the opportunity to be able to do that. So thank you, thank you,
Of
thank
course,
you.
sis, this is the first. It's definitely not the last, for
Period.
sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, girl. Thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your day and bye everybody. I hope you have a good day too.
Yes, thank you so much, all your support and for being here. So thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.